Starting again here with the feet outer hip distance apart, hands over belly and heart. Take in the breath. Have a little bend behind the knees so you're not overly rigid here. Maybe sway the hips just slightly side to side. Getting to know how the body's feeling this morning. How the room around you, the mat underneath your feet, all come together for practice. And I want us just to drop the arms down by the side, and from the head down to the floor, slowly roll down. So tuck the chin towards the chest and start to round the shoulders, the upper back, mid back, and low back until you're draping all the way down towards the mat. Think ragdoll pose here as you hold on to the elbows, just sway a little bit from side to side. And then nice and slow, roll it back up to standing from the floor through each vertebrae of the spine. Lifting the shoulders up and back, lift the chin straight ahead. Inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. Big full reach. Take the right arm taller than the left, side body stretch. And then come back to the center and reach the left arm taller than the right, side body stretch. Both arms nice and tall. Exhale, lower the arms down by your side and take that slow roll again. Chin to the chest, round the shoulders, upper back, mid back, low back, drape over. Again, just ragdoll pose. Hold on to the elbows. Nice easy bend in the knees. Let a few exhales go out through the mouth here. And stay in ragdoll, but change your positioning so that you can stretch now into downward facing dog. Place the hands towards the front of the mat and your feet towards the back of your mat. In down dog, pedal out your feet. Shake out the head. And then lower the knees down to the mat. Child's pose. Sit the hips back to the heels. Walk both hands over towards the right side. Another side body stretch here. Try to reach the left arm a little longer than the right from this side reach. And then come across the center and on over to the second side. Bring your hands to the center. Make your way up to all fours. Hands under the shoulders, knees underneath the line of our waist. And cat and cow here. From cat and cow, go back to downward facing dog. Taking our time, all the good warm-up moves this morning. So go into low lunge. Take the right foot forward in between the hands for low lunge. Take as many steps as needed to get there. And then lift the right arm up to the sky for your twist. Reach the top arm all the way back towards your left heel now. Just a little more reach and opening across the top shoulder and chest. And then right hand down beside your foot. And step back to plank position. Top of our push-up here. Squeeze the glutes, lengthen the tailbone, tone the belly. Look a little bit forward rather than down. Hold top of your plank. One more breath. And then lower it flat down to the mat. Take the hands out, wider than the mat. Point the elbows up to the sky. And then lift the chest up so it's this broader cobra position. Look over your right shoulder. Look towards the center and look over your left shoulder. Look towards the center. Lower it all the way back down to the mat. Downward facing dog. Get there from all fours or straight legs. Step your left foot forward in between the hands, low lunge. And then again, add the twist, left arm up to the sky. Reach the left hand all the way back towards your right heel. And lower it down beside the front foot. Step back to plank. Again, a longer hold here. Variations of plank, toes or knees. Feet together or feet wider apart. Sometimes that wider base makes the pose a little more doable. And again, lower flat down to the mat. Do the wide base in the arms for cobra. Lift up. Look over the left shoulder first. Sometimes I kind of dip the opposite shoulder as I do that. Across the center, look over the right shoulder and center. And then lower it flat down. Add in one more belly down back bend, palms back. Lift everything that you can high, locust pose. And then lower it down and press back to child's pose. Thread the right arm under the left, twisted child's pose. I'm going to take my hips higher in the air today. They could be higher or lower for you. Left arm to the sky. And then place the left hand back beside your face. Use it to lift through child's pose or all fours. And change to the second side. Thread the left arm under the right. Left ear, side of the face, shoulder down to the mat. Right hand can stay out in front or lift up to the sky. Give it a couple of breaths. And let's all make our way up to all fours. Circle the hips around, make big circles so the hips come all the way forward and down towards the wrist, and then all the way back and around towards the heels. And go in the opposite direction. Finally, back to downward facing dog. Walk your hands backwards to the feet or at the end of the sticky mat. Place hands to your waist, point the elbows up to the sky, push down into your feet, come all the way up to standing. We're going to start our sequences at the back of the mat today. Take the arms up, lift the right knee up and into the chest. Now, all through the month of June, we took a big giant steps forward to the lunge. I want you to take little tiny steps into your lunge. So the right foot goes back down and just inches through. So it takes at least 5 little stages to get into your full stride here. Start there. And then hinge forward, belly down towards the thigh. Place the palms together and twist left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Tone and turn the abdomen so the hands end up towards the center of the chest and try to point the right elbow straight up towards the sky. Carefully untwist. Place both hands to the inside of your foot, down dog lunge. Spin the back heel down and walk your hands towards the front left corner of the mat. Work to broaden your right knee away from your right shoulder. Front knee away from the top shoulder. And then walk the hands back in. Plank pose. Lower to the mat. Regular cobra here. Keep the hands as they are under the shoulders and lift the chest. Change to downward facing dog. Walk the hands backwards to the feet. Hands to the waist, point the elbows up to the sky, push down into your feet, come all the way up to standing. Lift both arms high. Lift the left knee up and into your chest, hold it there for a moment. Try to press down through the right leg, finding your center of balance. And then the left toes go down, and we take those slow, small steps until we get into our long, high lunge. Hinge forward, belly down onto the thighs, so you can really use that pressure of belly down and thigh more up to keep you centered. Palms together, that helps me with balance. And then add the twist, right elbow towards or all the way hooked across the front thigh. Now do pull your back heel forward over your toes. Lift your bum high enough that you can get the back leg straight, and that keeps more space in the low back to twist from, more room across the hips, and I think it also makes the balance and control here easier. And then untwist. Set the hands down, step back to plank. Vinyasa flow. And you can always modify, skip the flows, find what works in your practice for today. Inhale, cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Walk the hands backwards to the feet. Hands to the waist, point the elbows up to the sky, push down into the feet, and come all the way up to standing. Here from the back of your mat, try tree pose, right foot against the left leg. Start and stay low or go higher, above or below the knee. Put the knee out to the side, the toes down to the floor. Try arms overhead. And a little active work in this tree pose. Can you lift your right knee now as high as you can towards your armpit, as if the foot's going to set back down to the leg, and then do it 2 more times. Knee up towards the armpit and down to the leg, up to the armpit and down to the leg. Lower the right foot flat against the ground. And we're taking those small steps to come forward into the full range of your high lunge. Spin the back heel down to flat feet for warrior 1. I realize I forgot a pose on that second side for us. I'll get back to it in a moment. Warrior 1 here. Open it up for warrior 2. Hips and shoulders go to the side. Gaze out over your front fingertips. Take a little more bend into the front knee. Last couple of breaths, sit slightly deeper into the pose with tailbone still straight down towards the floor. Back leg engaged. Then cartwheel the hands down to the mat. Step back to plank. Lower to the mat. Lift the chest for cobra. Press down through the hands and feet as we go. And then downward facing dog. Walk your hands backwards to your feet. Place the hands to the waist, point the elbows to the sky, push down into your feet and come all the way up to standing. Tree pose, second side. Place the left foot against the right leg. Again, you're picking the height. You know that the leg's gonna move up and down, so you don't have to worry too much about that. There's moving parts in this balance, so that much more important to find the tone through the glutes and the press down through the right foot at this point. And then let's try lifting our left knee higher towards the armpit, down to the leg, and doing it twice more. Lift up and down, and then up and down. Set the left foot flat down against the ground. Those slow steps forward to make the length of our lunge. Spin the back heel down so you're one line, heel to heel here, and warrior 1. Noticing how the high lunge and then that spin of the back heel down in warrior 1. Change the pose just a bit. Open it up for warrior 2. Bigger change here. Hips, shoulders open fully to the side, long length of the mat. Gaze out over your front fingertips. And if you were to just check down on the left leg, make sure you're broadening the knee closer to the pinky toe side of the foot. All right, let's take it down to the floor for the down dog lunge that I forgot. So if the hands come down here, might heel toe the back foot in a little bit, play with it until you have the space to reach the hands more out in front over the right corner. Down dog lunge. Then walk it in, change to plank pose. We're down to the mat, cobra, and downward facing dog. Walk the hands backwards to your feet. Inchworm back. Place the hands to your hips, point the elbows up to the sky, push down into your feet, come upright in the torso. One more set here, starting with a balance in dancer pose. So kick your right heel to your seat. Take the right hand, hold on to the right foot. It's like flamingo, just nice quad stretch here. When I do this at the end of a different style of workout, I'm always holding on to something. Here we're focusing a little bit more. See if you can balance away from a wall, away from a prop. With the left arm up into the air, then bend the left knee. Hinge a little forward and pull the right leg up and back behind you. Dancer pose, Natarajasana. Slowly come out of the pose with as much control as possible. And then again, arms up into the air, we take the little steps forward into the high lunge. Hinge forward, place the belly down onto the thigh. But now drop your hands on either side of the front foot. Take a little step in with the back heel. And then pyramid pose. Can you press the left heel flat down, foot flat down against the earth? And make both legs as straight as possible there in pyramid pose. Hands can prop back up to the waist to make this more doable, or of course blocks under the hands. Whichever one is accessible here. If you've got a little more range of motion with straight legs, kind of bend the elbows out to the side and keep thinking forehead to the shin or ankle. Try to lengthen the spine so it's not head to knee, it's longer than that. And then inhale, lift the chest a bit, rebend the right knee. And there's just little shifts in your feet for triangle pose. So the back toes turn a little bit more out to give you some space. I like right hand to the inside rather than the outside of the foot for a traditional triangle pose. And then work to straighten the right leg again and lift the left arm up to the sky. I love making pretty pictures in our poses. Most important piece is, of course, good alignment for you and your body. So little movements, always checking in. Maybe your best alignment is a little different than mine. It probably is. Allowing yourself to make those switches. Okay, left hand comes back down to the floor. Find your way into a low lunge. Pick up the back heel, rotate, and step back to plank. Flat down to the mat, cobra, downward facing dog. Walk your hands to your feet. Place the hands to the waist, point the elbows up to the sky, push down into your feet, and come on up to standing. We're into dancer pose on the second side here. It starts with the quad stretch, left heel towards the seat, left hand holds on. Try to squeeze thighs, knees together so that the knee points down to the floor, right arm up to the sky. Plenty of stretch and work here to find the balance. You could stay in this stage. For me, dancer pose takes a bend in the standing leg, makes it a little easier to find some room along hamstrings and low back. Maybe balance gets a little trickier though. Hinge forward. It's like warrior 3 with a quad stretch. Lots going on. And make your way to stand, 2 feet back down on the ground. Lift the arms up to the sky. And step the left foot slowly forward into the full stride of high lunge. Okay, here we are, ready for pyramid pose. Hinge forward, drop the hands down. Take just that tiny step in with the right foot and spin the back heel down. So I've got my right foot a good deal turned in. So like big toe pointed up towards the front right corner of the mat. And then make the left leg as straight as it'll go. If the left leg doesn't go straight with the hands on the floor, A, that's fine. B, you could prop the hands under blocks or all the way up to the waist. If you're coming all the way up to the waist, the pose takes on a little more core engagement, which can be what you want. Or if you want to stay more in the stretch, keep the hands down so you're not having to worry so much about balance. And then we'll, from here, come to triangle pose. Both hands go to the inside of the foot. I'm going to turn the back toes out just a little more so they look a little more towards the long edge of the mat rather than that front corner. Just opening up a little space into the hips. And then right arm up to the sky. Lift the right hip open across the torso. Shoulders stacked, hand straight up over the line of the right shoulder. Bring the right hand back down, rebend the left knee a lot now. Pick up the back heel, find your full low lunge. And then plank pose. Lower down to the mat. Cobra, peel the chest up. And sit it back. Child's pose now. Nice, steady, long flow through the bulk of our practice. Now just child's pose. And then change all the way to a seated position. Sit on your bed, stretch your legs straight out in front of you. Place the right foot flat down on the mat and then cross it over your left leg. Hug the left forearm around the right thigh, the right shin, and twist. Look to your right side, maybe even back over your right shoulder. Lift taller on every inhale, find little bits of movement and twist on every exhale. On an inhale, unwind and place the right foot on the inside of your thigh now. Keep the heel pretty close to your butt, pretty close to the leg, it's to the left leg, and lift both arms up to the sky. Now I'm going to hinge forward and over, let the right butt come off of the mat to try to grab low onto the left leg, maybe even behind the foot. In this one-legged seated forward fold. And this is the beginning stage of the Mariachana Asana variation, which takes a bind as well. So you could try it. Right hand is low on the right shin, right arm, I should say, and then you bend at the elbow to try to grab back towards your right hip. And the left hand would go around the back. And try to find the bind of the fingers or the wrist. Full disclosure, my hands are quite far apart here. I'm just holding against pants and shirt. Anything that works, finding those shapes. Release the bind if you'd been working towards it. Come all the way upright and stretch your right leg straight out. Place the left foot flat against the mat, cross it over. We go for the twist first. Look towards your left side. Lift the torso on the inhale, twist on the exhale. And again, you can hold right arm to the front of the shin or cross elbow to the outside of the thigh, much like we did in the lunge with the twist variation. Inhale, come back across the center, untwist. Uncross the foot, so it's just left foot to the inside of the thigh here. Again, heel pretty close to your bum. Inner edge of the foot pretty close to your thigh. Lift both arms up to the sky. As you hinge forward, I am very readily letting the left glute, left butt cheek come off of the mat. A little more leverage to reach towards the base of the right foot. Do keep pushing down through your left big toe. It likes to kind of roll off the mat. Try to keep all 5 toes on the mat there of the flat foot. And keep this reach and fold, or go for some variation of the bind. Left arm swings out to the side with the shoulder, upper arm bone trying to catch low along the shin, and bend at the elbow. Hand wraps back to the left hip. Right hand could wrap behind your back towards the left hip as well. Just a couple of breaths there if you're going for the bind, and then we all reach the hands back towards the foot and lift up. Stretch both legs straight out in front, a little pat through. Good old seated forward fold. Take the arms up and reach to your feet. Do exactly what feels nice to you here in this fold. Have a little bend behind the knees or don't. Easy round through the back. Do try to evenly round through the back so it's not just a drop in the head or shoulders, but the whole length of the spine is folding over the legs. Make your way back upright in the torso. And let's switch to lie down onto the yoga mat. So in the month of June, there was a pretty heavy emphasis in that sequence that we worked with twist and core strength. I'm using this practice the first day of July to fold all that in, hopefully in a more gentle way. Dead bug pose here. Lift the head and shoulders off of the mat, trying to make the toes and the feet touch one another. And then scissor the legs. Keep the right leg lifted, lower the left leg about a foot above the ground. Lean towards your right. So we get a twist within that core work. And then come back upright. Scissor to the second side, lean to the left. Both legs together, lift up. One more time to the first side, and up, and to the second side, and up. Take the hands out to a T shape as you lower your head and shoulders down. Instead of straight legs, bend at the knees. Try to make a 90-degree sit. A lot of times here, the knees will come close into the chest. Do what you can to actually draw them a little bit out so they're right over the line of the hips. And that should give you some lower abdominal contraction as well as those front rectus abdominis working together. And then lower the knees over towards the right side to activate full TVA and into the obliques as well. Core stability and strength, so important for our day-to-day. Inhale, come back across the center. And slowly lower the legs over to the second side. And both knees back into the middle. Again, knees right over the line of the hip, the waist. And from here, trying to keep that 90-degree angle in the feet. Last thing, just nice, easy, tap the toe down and up. Left toes down and up. Down and up, switching sides in the tap. Here, specifically looking to target lower abdomen, pelvic floor. Tap 4 more times. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Hug the knees into the chest. Big full breath. As you let it go, release the arms and legs. Full release and stillness in the body for Shavasana. Though in making your way to stillness, if you need a little more wiggle or one last pose, feel free to add it in. From your place of stillness, consciously start to match a little bit of movement in the body again with the lengthening of the breath. If you're lying back, take your time to come to a seated position. And draw the hands together. I always close practice with the sound of Om, sending the gratitude that came through this movement into the rest of the day. As ever, you're welcome to sing along, to listen, or to tune it out. Empty out your breath. Take a deep breath in. Again, full gratitude to yourself, each other, this practice. Namaste.